All right, good afternoon, everybody. For those of you that don't know me, Walter Fouch, I'm the Regional Parts and Service Manager for the Kia Central Region, and I want to welcome you to our webinar number 5. It's the 5th in our series, obviously, being number 5, right? And we're going to discuss a couple things today, but before we really get into and dive deep into the presentation, like we have in the last 4, thank you. And that's a heartfelt thank you, please, to all the dealer people, our family members that are out there at the dealership in the front line taking care of the Kia customer. And without you, we wouldn't be here. And thank you for doing what you do. And we do appreciate it immensely. Recapping our webinars as we started, number one was really about face of the dealership or the digital selling environment that we need to focus on. We started calling these as CBB Evolution, which is COVID Big Bang. And obviously you can see webinar number 1. Webinar number 2 was focusing around on generating revenue from our standard processes that we have at the store prior to this, and then moving them into a digital environment, taking dealership best practices and sharing them with everybody, and then coming up with suggestions as we see it and evolve it. And not just within our region, but in other regions around the country as well. We're able to tap into our counterparts, and one of them happens to be on the webinar today too. But so we tap into all the best practices, not just from our region, from around the country. Webinar 3, we moved into selling, communication, and quality assurance, focusing on, again, generating revenue in this new environment, this new evolution. Last week's webinar, webinar number 4, centered around cashiering, redelivery of the vehicle, and post-repair follow-up. And with the culmination of this one today, hopefully you'll have a game plan, be able to take snippets out of each one of these presentations. Use one, use all, use as many as you think you need to help you in generating your processes or revamping your processes to meet these customers' expectations. The pandemic has been running wild, and we know that, and the customers' expectations have changed dramatically. I mean, absolutely dramatically. And I'll cover that in just a second. So this webinar is designed around now service marketing and taking the things that we've learned and moving them into this new evolution. Accessories, since we don't have the flow of customers coming into the showroom like we have in the past, we'll be able to use a thought process and processes in general on being able to sell additional accessories, not just in the service drive, but also on the showroom floor. Then a sales to service handoff process, specifically tied into with the lack of customers coming into the showroom, but tied into getting the customers to come back into your store. And then a new element, which a lot of dealers have been doing, but new element for us is service to sales handoff, and allowing the sales department to jump or piggyback on with a lot of the things that are happening in and around the service department. So with me this afternoon, and if you look, state of the region, I'll be presenting obviously some updates on what we've seen, what we hear. And then with me today, my counterpart, Jerry O'Sullivan. Jerry, good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Walter. Good afternoon, everybody.
Jerry will be presenting the service marketing aspect, and then on to accessories will be Clarence Erickson. Good morning, Clarence.
Good afternoon, Walt.
And then finally, sales to service and then service to sales handoffs. That'll be Joe Casillas. Good afternoon, Joe. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking.
And then Jerry and I will wrap up with thought starters and suggestions and best practices, and then talk a little bit about the evolution of our webinars and what we're going to do with them. And then finally get into Q&A. And speaking of Q&A, if you do have questions, the nice part about this new application we're using is you can put chats right directly and put questions into the system. Or if you want them to be anonymous, you can send them over to Jack Sparling at his text. You can text it to him. His number's right there, 630-945, or send him an email, and he'll take your questions as well, so we have a backup on that. So what we're seeing in our recent after-sales support actions from Kia, we sent out this 2.1 million mailer out to many customers, and obviously 2.1 million of them. We had paused that because of a Seltos mailer that the sales department was doing. So up until the 7th, we had about 500,000 mailers that were processed through. And the nice part is when you look at it, the 60%, and I want you to focus on that, 60% of the emails were open, which is fantastic. And 1.13% had click-throughs, and the majority of those click-throughs were right to the landing pages of the dealerships. Again, thinking about you and generating traffic to come to the stores. So hopefully we'll see some traffic from that. Something new that launched yesterday afternoon were new assets put onto the core system for the new COVID-19 assets in the new banners on the right-hand side, you can see there. And then another item that launched out as well is our Service Smarts data is now integrated into the core program. So we can take that intelligent factors that we're using within seeing the response rates and use them for smarter marketing. So that just came out this morning, and you should have received an email. If not, you can contact your DPSM and they'll review that with you. But those are some of the recent actions. And I have to applaud our national office because their ability to get things to us quick and their response times have improved dramatically. And I mean dramatically, where we can get things to you in a much quicker sense. So again, applauding the national office. All right, 4th week in a row, we've provided this, and you can see that we're continuing to grow in our repair orders. The customer pay repair order count now through, at least through the end of last week, we're showing a 44% increase from our low point, record low point at 96.19, and you can see that it's dramatically increasing. We're up 44%. Conversely, when you look at the week of March 1st, when our average dealers repair orders were 106, we're now at 78, or just down 26%. So we're starting to see that positive growth. And I want to also caution you, as we start to see the increase in traffic, is to make sure that you're working with your district manager to develop a relaunch plan or an opening plan so you can take care of those customers as they come through the door. The other thing we're seeing too, and this is a whole focus, is looking at the automotive well-being index. And while some of this is prevalent to just new vehicle sales, it's important to look at new vehicle sales because that's what brings your customers in the door. So without that new vehicle sale, we don't have much of a service. So, and you can see in the Midwest here, we're at minus 14 points consumer sentiment on purchasing. And a couple points I want to make on the right-hand side of those considering the purchase of a vehicle, and the percent that who will, is the continuing of the purchase as planned is the 60%, almost 60%. So we're starting to see that start to increase again. And then moving on, and you've seen this before in the past, we're trying to stay focused on what those customers are doing, right? So we know in the 4 segments that we look at through Experian, we get this report from Experian, is that our Gen Z customers, 18 to 25, and what they're spending the majority of their times on. You can see television, smartphone, and most importantly, between smartphone and desktop, laptop, and tablet computer, those are taking up the majority of the customer's time. Then you get into millennial, Gen X, and then you can also read about baby boomers. And then specifically, what are they looking at? So you can see Netflix, Facebook, Instagram, so you can see exactly where they're starting to make their shopping. We take it one step a little bit further and we start to look at the Google research. And we just got a report from Google yesterday. And we know that consumers are using multiple devices, but this staying at home has led people to watch 60% more content on their phones and tablets, which equates to roughly 12 hours a day. And then consumers are downloading and spending 20% more time on applications. So you can see that. The most interesting part about the whole survey was that 24% of the surveyed shoppers now, the people who are actually making the purchase, went online to purchase something they would normally buy in a store. So, and this is key to us because we've got customers that come in the store for repair work. And 87% of them said they do it again online. Again, another factor that's pointing out that we really have to focus on that digital market space, which was webinar number 1, but to have that digital store space and selling to the customer. So the elements of this webinar is strictly set around service marketing. And Jerry's going to take you through the what, when, who, and the how. And then Clarence is going to talk to you about finding revenue in the accessories and using the current processes that you have and then working towards the new digital selling experience. And then finally, Joe's going to walk you through the sales to service and service to sales and the evolution that's occurring with that and some of the best practices we see from dealers, because we know it's all about retaining customers in this new normal. Without further ado, before I bring Jerry on one more time, if you have questions, there's the format. And without further ado, Jerry, you're on.
Thank you, Walter. Good afternoon again, everybody. And thanks again for all you're doing out there. And thanks for joining us today. So what is modern marketing from a COVID Big Bang perspective? Simply put, it's harnessing that full capability of your dealership just to provide that best experience. And for the customer, which in turn drives growth. McKinsey and Company had offered some information that to deliver growth, modern marketing requires updated capability and enablers. So what does that mean? Speed has to be timely, right? Walter talked about our ability to turn some things around to offer additional tools through the core program. Collaboration, working with your other dealership departments to get the message out, to actively promote your dealership. Most importantly, it's customer focused, fulfilling their needs. And this isn't just discounts. This isn't just low price items to bring them in. Giving them reasons to do business with you. That is critical. Next. So the suggestions and the best practices that we found, our findings know that you have to be current, the offers have to be timely, but they have to be transparent. There's that word again, transparency. We've been speaking about this since webinar 1. The offers should be price specific when possible. Promote your family pricing, that you're competitively priced. Customers will not buy anything online unless they know what they're paying for. So to say that you're $5 off an oil change may not be as helpful as promoting the lower price oil change. Also try to avoid competing offers. What do I mean by that? Well, avoid a low or a discounted oil change and then also a discounted price on a major service. What is it you're asking or trying to get the customer to come in to show that you're offering? Remember that searches for home delivery have grown over 100% since March 21st. And that is not just for a purchase from a big box store or a restaurant. It is for that concierge service from the dealership. Touching on that, it's essentially focused around that customer-centric mindset, adapting to the consumer behavior and staying up to date on those trends. This is not a flash in the pan. Customers' concerns are real, and whatever we can do to minimize that and promote the safety and security in doing business with you is paramount. We want to make sure that we maximize the data to your advantage. And that's internal and the other available resources, as Walter touched on before with Core and some of the other areas that you can pull from, whether you're using an outside vendor. Most importantly, you need a firm strategy, and it has to be designed around your existing audience, not just service, but your sales and parts customers as well. What is your strategy for attracting new customers? This isn't just lowball pricing. This is why service with you. What are you offering today? What are you doing differently to set yourself apart from your customers? And most importantly, your digital storefront is required to convey that message. Customers have to be able to work with you conveniently and at ease when they're going to your websites. Should always willing to be digitally helpful to make it easier on your consumer base. Google tells us that 77% of consumers today say brands should talk about how helpful they are. They also go on to say that over a third of consumers have started using a new brand just because of their innovation and how compassionate they were with respect to this virus. So think about that. The changes that you're making with incorporating, addressing the COVID concerns. How does that attract new customers for your dealership? What are you doing differently that is going to attract a new customer? And it's great. Wouldn't we all want one more, a 33% growth in our customer base? So with the advantages of service marketing in today's environment, you have to optimize your digital and e-commerce experience. You have to make it easy to do business with you. Your full site needs to be easy to navigate, as well as your mobile site. Customers on their cell phone need to be able to extract from your dealership what they need and give them a reason to do business with you. When you're analyzing your digital plan, what is your expected return on investment? And what are your future plans with your marketing? Short-term plans should offer you full breadth of service. What are you doing again to set yourself apart? What do you offer in terms of convenience? And then your long-term plan needs to be with the goal of retaining customers. We shouldn't be driving customers to our service drive only to hit them overhead with high-priced services early in their ownership. Be competitively priced, and most importantly, offer them a comprehensive, complimentary multi-point inspection. Set the roadmap for their next visits and the long-term ownership cycle. Your in-store processes have to demonstrate that concierge level experience. Let the consumer experience speak for itself. I think we see returns right now with our Medallia surveys of what a truly satisfied customer chose to be against perhaps a happy customer that they just got in and out safely. We have a big opportunity here moving forward, but it's a balancing act. As states slowly start to open up, there's still fears of infection or a second wave, and that is real to many of our consumers. So simply opening up your schedule doesn't mean that the customers are going to be willing to come to your dealership. So we still have to continue to integrate those new steps you've taken with pickup and delivery, curbside drop-off. The fear is real, and it drives the customer's behavior. You must include a safe message with your current and your future customers. Your staff needs to be wearing masks, sneeze shields in the dealership, social distancing identified throughout the store. Give the customers the sense that you truly are concerned about the safety of not only them, but also your employees. This has to happen at least until an antivirus is created. So I'm going to turn it over to Clarence Erickson to tell you a little bit more about accessories. Thank you, everybody.
Afternoon, guys. Well, let me echo the sentiments of my colleagues here, and by saying thank you for all you guys do for Kia, especially through this pandemic. So let's take a look at accessories. That basically boils down to a simple formula: ask, show, pay. First, we have to have the salespeople request customization of a vehicle from a customer. In order to do that, obviously we have to provide them with some sort of spiff or commission. And of course, my favorite is the spiff, the weekly spiff, where the salesmen run around the store saying, "Look what I got today." To help them out, try to have some package pricing. We have a Badger package here, many stores in Wisconsin area that include things like the all-weather mats, splash guards, and some other things. Also, preload the vehicle at the PDI with your addendum. Many other stores do simple things like wheel locks or splash guards, the cost of which is pretty minimal and the gross is pretty high. Even in those rare instances where the customer doesn't want them, it still behooves you to do that. Have a high-end model with PIO accessories on the showroom floor if preloading is a concern. That way you can showcase what the vehicle could look like if it had everything on it. Obviously, to help you out in this regard, have a showroom display of accessories so the customers can look and feel those. Also, for those stores that don't have a gallery, attempt to have a lounge display of the accessories. Now, always include the vehicle price. Again, we got to have that addendum on the glass. And bottom line, ask for the sale. Nothing happens if we don't say something. A couple of the best practices that you can see: magnets on some showroom vehicles highlighting the price, the installed price. Content walls, again, down there into the lower right. Loaner cars with added accessories. Make sure to have stickers in those saying how much those accessories are. Again, displaying the vehicles with PIOs, and then lifestyle packages, such as our Sportage up there in the right-hand corner with popular equipment. Also, for those of you delving into the digital side of things, there are many online sales tools, which are end-to-end products that include the accessory step. Next. So what are the advantages of using genuine Kia accessories? Well, first, we want to have a proper inventory to minimize the WEOs. Not only will this help keep our customers safe, but it will also minimize the additional strain on the service department. They're also backed by a 5-year, 60,000-mile basic warranty when purchased at the time of the new vehicle sale. Many of those accessories can even be rolled into the customer's payments. What does this mean for you? Well, higher gross on the vehicle, which translates into more store revenue. Either process is easily integrated into either the traditional or the sales processes. Now, to pick up some additional or incremental sales, have a display in service and backed up by some coupons on your website that can be offered. Speaking of your website, make sure to include the accessory pricing guide there as well. Parts managers, work with your service managers to have both the price of the part and the installation price included in the guide. Now I'll turn it over to Joe Castillas for the sales to service handoff.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Clarence, and thanks to everybody out there for joining us. For a moment here, need to get this thing. There we go. All right. Am I unmuted? Yes, I am. All right. Sorry about that, folks.
We can hear you.
Excellent. So the sales to service handoff, the successful sales to service handoff always starts with the debriefing from the sales consultant during the sales process. The sales consultant has to try to convey over to the new Kia buyer why they want to service their vehicle at the dealership there. Another current finding that we have is that the high-performing processes that are out there show that if the fixed ops department is doing their follow-up 2 to 3 weeks after the purchase, and that call comes from the service manager, service director, well, even from a BDC, you're going to get a lot more action. You're going to get a lot more response from the customers. This phone call is made 2 to 3 weeks after, just to make sure that the customer is okay with his vehicle. They have no problems with it. And then, of course, you can schedule that all-important first appointment, which is what we use to measure our owner retention right at the beginning of the cycle. So it is proven that those who have a process that is continually monitored and updated gather more appointments. Basically, inspect what you expect. Also, customers are twice as likely to return to a service department when introduced to the fixed operations team, and that comes directly from X-Time. So we also have some best practices for you. Create a professional packet for the new vehicle owner. So when the sales consultant is going over the sales process with a new car buyer, whether in person at the dealership, whether digitally, whether at the person's home when they're delivering the vehicle, being able to convey all the important information that you can regarding the service department is essential. Whether you have it in paper in your hand or whether you have it digitally, we want to convey to the customer why they want to go to the service department, who they see there, when they can go there, the different hours, the times, different website links, how to schedule appointments. The tire link can be added to the digital format of that. And then, of course, a welcome video from a service manager. So a lot of things to be able to do in our new realm of digital here. Again, like I said, service manager sends a welcome video. This works for both digital and in-store purchase scenarios. All right. Alrighty, okay, we're on service to sales now. All right. So within the service to sales handoff, everybody has already seen that we have a very large opportunity with a lack of traffic flowing through the sales department. A lot of opportunity in service. And frankly, our service departments have stepped up over the last couple of months, where we've seen repair order counts drop. We've seen dollars per RO go up. So the large opportunity is there. Some data mining services now will identify potential customers whether they purchased from you or not. Back when I was doing sales, the data mining services were only effective within your CRM. Now they can get information from anybody. In fact, I got a call from Affinitive after the first phone call this morning, and they do have a product. It's called Quote, from auto-generated lead sheets right out of your system to driving customers to a personalized trade-up portal. They're able to address a lot of things within our sales to service process with one handy-dandy tool. So it appears to be a pretty slick thing. If you're interested at all, please reach out to your Affinitive rep. All right, some best practices. Sales department minds the customer appointment base 4 to 5 days prior to customer visits. So you got your process set up, you've got your salesperson that's going to be reaching out to your service customers. Have them do their data mining 4 to 5 days prior to their appointment to make sure they're all prepared for it. Having someone from the sales department set up in service is a very good recommendation. Whether they're there only during the heavy times in the morning or having someone there dedicated during all hours would be a definite benefit to bringing service customers into the sales department. If you do have someone there dedicated, they could also double as a KSRP or an alternate transportation manager during slower times. But hopefully they're going to be selling a lot of cars and won't have time for that. Walter? All right. So we have some advantages regarding both of these processes. Owner retention. For the sales and service process, that goes to show a new Kia customer that your service people and processes are there to make them feel comfortable coming into your dealership. Just like Jerry said, we need to make sure that these customers coming into the stores these days feel comfortable going in there, regardless of their level of apprehension. Owner retention on the other process, service to sales, funnels inequity customers from your service to sales department and keeps them in the family for years to come. Easy peasy. Revenue now. And we learned this over the last couple of months. Like I said, securing every sales lead is crucial. Well, that goes anytime, but it's even more so now during the coronavirus. But here's what's more important. We've also discovered how your fixed operations can buoy your dealership's bottom line. Like I said, you guys have done a fantastic job with your dollars per RO that keeps climbing. Keep your customers coming back for service so you can weather the next storm, because it will happen again. And then, of course, revenue in the future for the whole dealership. Keep the vehicle ownership cycle going well into the future, and with communication and the excellent service that you guys will be providing. So thank you very much. And now Walter's going to be giving us a little bit more information. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Clarence. On behalf of Jerry and I, you guys, fantastic job. Nice job. What I want to do is share with you a best practice. And we work with a lot of dealers every day, and we talk to so many people scouring for best practices. Tony Darple's the service director down at Jake Sweeney Kia in Florence, Kentucky there. And he has put together, actually went into production last night, a video that he's putting together that is going to be emailed out, and he also provides it on YouTube as well. But it's a letter to the customers who purchase new vehicles and gives them instructions on the store, etc. The neat part about what he's doing that's a little different is a lot of these emails are going to start including links. But I put the script up here for your use. If you're interested in it, we can share that with you. But as soon as the video is in its final production stage, something that I can have, we're going to post it to our YouTube channel. Jerry mentioned that a while ago. So we do have the YouTube channel out there. We are posting best practices, but this will be put up there. So one thing that we've learned is we have to self-reflect. And that's what this COVID Big Bang has taught us, right? And it's self-reflection. And when we see self-reflection as a whole through the webinars and talking to dealers, the big questions come up. Are we keeping our customers and employees safe? We read all the time in Medallia, we see the customer feedback. Customers want to be safe. And you can see every survey and everything that we've talked about and every vendor that we're watching videos on, they're talking about employees and customers being safe. And then a paperless transaction. And do you offer 100% paperless? And then paperless processes at the store, minimizing the touch points for many different people touching a piece of paper, right? And then exploring a true digital process. I'm going to show you a best practice from one of our dealers that embraced it and has had tremendous success with it. And then what are dealerships doing? I can tell you we've seen Tony Darple, perfect example. Tony had his best April ever last month. And it's not because of the fact he was accepting appointments. It's the fact that he embraced what needed to be done with customers and doing social distancing and giving customers their voice, basically, and having that trust message. And Tony was able to break records. That just doesn't happen with everybody. We've seen dealers that are down, the region's down in repair order counts. We have a lot of those in our region where we have those hotspots. I call them the hotspots, right? So those who embraced it early are generating and reeling in those revenues now. And some of those that haven't are now trying to take that hill and climb that hill. Customers who feel safe, as we mentioned before, and that we have their best interests in hand, are the ones that are being the most successful. I've got another video I'm going to show you here in just a second from a dealer that's doing it. Now, I'm going to narrate it for you so you can understand exactly the dynamics of it. And then capitalizing on best practices. We put these videos together. We're going to give you the evolution of the videos and our webinars that we're doing. Staying up to date with technologies. That's another big one too. And then testing and exploring alternatives. If you're not testing, we're not evolving. And that's what this is all about, is evolving as a brand to get customers taken care of so that our repeat business comes back in. It's cheaper to take care of those customers that know you do a good job rather than trying to market to people to bring them in. So here's a video, and I unmuted Jerry for a second because we're going to narrate this just briefly, but this is Helene Kia. They're in North Olmsted, Ohio, and this is the changes that they've made to the dealership to implement social distancing and sanitization of the vehicles and a couple other process changes. So we'll narrate it as well. One of the things that they're doing, and you can see off to the right-hand side of the screen there, is that the car, and they're putting this inside the car and giving the customer, as they're leaving, that the vehicle's been disinfected. And they're doing it in the view of where customers can see it. So that's actually the neat part about it. If this pixelates, I apologize. It's been off and on all day because of the rainstorm here, but I'm going to hit that button and introduce you to Eric and Marty. Again, those are the highlights of the processes that they've changed with online options. And this is the express check-in with complete faceless, touchless design. The entry into their building. And the magic to cameras, we have rain now, so you can see that. And the customer pulls in, hits a parking space. Customer parks. Muley gets out of his car. Now, for your purposes, he's going to walk you through their online check-in process. And come right up to the camera. There you go. He's going to complete the online check-in. Very simple with pricing. Making the request. And check in, mileage. There you go. He's going to sign, and now check-in is complete. Okay, there you go. Now he walks in, drops the keys off, and you'll see where he's going to drop them off. Voila. All done. Customer's in, and they know he's there. Pretty quick. Thank you. Now on to the service drive using social distancing. Customer pulls in like any other time, obviously wearing a mask. I love the tablet in hand. Very nice to see. Immediate transition. You see 6 feet apart. All the protective materials are inside of it. And it's a tag team approach too. And now into the waiting area. And again, you'll see the social distancing and the cleanliness of the store. Everyone's wearing masks. Try to keep it as normal as possible, but also adhering to social distancing, right?
Yeah, safety doesn't have to be overwhelming, but it has to be obvious. And that's critical with our customer base.
Oh, Jerry, excellent point. That's an excellent point. And then on to vehicle cleaning and sanitation. You know, the car wash is done. The vehicle's nice and shiny. and then they go right out front, right by the showroom and where the customer lounge is, and he desanitizes the vehicle. Takes out the materials, and it is a process, but it's a visual process for customers to see as well. So that's a snippet of what the Helene dealer group is doing. This is their North Olmsted store. They also have one in Sandusky as well. And they've seen many of their customers comment on how successful that is and how much they love seeing the sanitization process as well. This next best practice is with Scott Fraze, who is the fixed operations director for the Montgomery Auto Group. And that dealership group, which is 4 Kia stores in Kentucky, they have 7 stores altogether, and they've implemented Dealer FX. And this is a testimonial from Scott about how they've implemented this and what it has done for their business. And you'll see a lot of it is digital, all set up towards digital. And this is also going to be posted on our website, on our YouTube channel, just like the previous Helene Kia one as well. And without further ado, let me introduce you to Scott Fraze.
Hi, my name is Scott Fraze. I am the Fixed Operations Director for the Kia store here in Louisville, Kentucky. I'd like to talk to you a little bit about Dealer FX. First of all, full disclosure, they are not paying me to say this. This is just something that we would like to do because of the relationship that we've built with them over the last year or so, and how easy it is to use this program. A lot of people are scared to death of digital programs, and you know, it can be confusing, it can be scary, but this program is so easy to use. The staff at Dealer FX is so easy to work with that I'll promise you'll regret not using Dealer FX. Our ROI speaks for itself. Our customer pay has gone through the roof. Our KSI has gone up, and a couple things that has caused that is, well, there's 2 or 3 different things, and I'll go into that. Number one, the MPI process. The technician does his inspection on the vehicle, takes pictures, puts his notes in, sends it to the parts department. He stays in his bay, works on the car. He never leaves his bay. It goes to the parts department, then goes to service advisor. Service advisor then sends it to the customer, and the customer now is in full control. There's not a slick salesperson trying to sell them something. It's all digital, and they can say, yes, I want it, no, I don't, yes, I want it, no, I don't. And with that, it gives them all the information, such as what a cabin filter does, what brakes do, whatever we're trying to sell them, it gives them full disclosure as to how it works on their car. So it gives them an opportunity to make an educated decision. And I think what we've seen, I know what we've seen from our top service advisors, our 15% increase in closure for customers that get it sent digitally. So we have a 50% higher closing ratio for customers that make their own decisions based off of information. Would I never have thought that? Some of our service advisors, I've got one that's been with us for 20 years, and the closing ratios are higher when he sends it digitally. So something to think about. It puts the customer in full control, and we also have mobile check-in for them. Everything's signed on their phone, mobile check-in by their phone. They can drop their keys outside, take an Uber home. We call them, let them know when it's ready, text them, email them, however they choose to be communicated with. They can pay online. Everything is doable. You can do everything with Dealer FX that you've ever dreamed of. Totally customizable. Everything we've done is fully customized. Whatever we want done, they'll do whatever we need them to do. So it's been a great relationship, and we have 6 dealerships getting ready to sign up our 7th one. So if you have any questions, feel free to call me. My name is Scott Fraze with the Kia store here in Louisville, Kentucky. You have a great day.
So the rest of this video, and I'm going to pause it right there and move on here just a little bit. The rest of this video is the Dealer FX, and basically I captured this. And the thing about this is they walk you through the entire process. Again, I'm going to post this on our YouTube channel. And one thing I want to touch on what Scott said, and I want to point this out, is their close rates. Their close rates are absolutely gone up dramatically. And it's because of their ability to monitor it very closely And for those of you that have had me in your stores, and I've always asked you, what's your close rate? No, what's your real close rate, right? They have real close rates. They know how much is being MPI'd. They know how much is being written and how much is being sold. You can get a true aspect of what's being done in the service department on the drive and what the service advisor is doing. Just like the dealer has expectations on salespeople selling cars, you have to have that same expectation on service people, your service consultants, and selling that product. But that closure rate's got to be huge. And not only that, but if you're not measuring it, how can you improve it? So that's a neat thing that Scott pointed out. Onto our evolution, we talked about this. We're evolving, and part of that evolution is taking a quick poll. And I'm going to ask you to take a quick poll on the system. Let me do that. Go. And I just launched a poll out for everybody. And if you could take a look at that. That poll is a question that we have for you designed to look at how we can move forward, right? So what we're looking at is solicit feedback from you regarding opportunities that are in the store. And those opportunities range from the things we discussed on the webinar, anything that's not there that you feel you need more help on, get to your DPSM, because that's what we see moving forward with is the evolution of our webinars are going to be more of a moderator / interview based. When you have an issue, we have a collection of issues. We're going to find out who has the best practices, right? Then we're going to bring those best practices into a 30-minute discussion where you can ask questions about how did you do this? Why did you do it? And how successful are you? So that way you can ask the individuals who are doing the job to actually get feedback directly from them. So that's awesome. We've got 14 people that have responded already. And if you could take some time, and we're going to move into the Q&A session. And let me look to see what we've got here for Q&A real quick. Let's see here. And I'll unmute Jack just so we've got, the wizard is out there. Trust me when I tell you. There you go, Jack.
All right. Yeah, there's no inquiries here for questions at all.
None yet. Wow.
Not at
Very
all.
interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. Well, you did a nice, thorough job, Walter.
Yeah. I have a hard time believing that one, right? Hard time believing that. Let's see here what we've got. Making sure I don't see any questions that have come up yet. Make sure I have Jerry unmuted. Jerry, any questions? Any feedback?
No, nothing's come through via the chat box. But again, I think they know the resources are there. Their DPSMs are there to point them in the right direction. If they get an opportunity to watch this again on our YouTube channel, they'll be able to pull any questions, and we'll be able to address them at any point in time as well.
We're kind of 2 minutes into it. We got over 50% of the people that have voted on it. I'm going to display the voting so you can see it. And exactly like this morning, the number one process that begs more questions is directly on the sales and service handoff processes. So we obviously got a need for improving those. That in this morning and this afternoon have been the biggest hits that we need exploration on. So well received. Appreciate that. And before we conclude the webinar, again, we want to thank a lot of our vendors out there that have provided information for us: DealerFX, Core, Affinitive, and everybody else that's out there working towards improving you and the Kia dealer body as a whole. And the last little plug is on the Central Region website or YouTube channel. And we've got that posted. The PDFs will be sent out to the district managers, and then they'll forward those out to you as well. And any parting wishes from my compadre?
Well, Walter, just so Jay Kunkler offered to everybody in the chat box, in case they're not familiar with where it is that he agrees digital is the way to go, and he knows that the Sunbit format has helped him and his dealership. And we're going to look, check with CBIS to see how the mobile check-in option goes with respect to the GoMoto kiosk. So it seems like mobile check-in would do away with the need for a kiosk. Any thoughts? That's a question. I honestly don't think that that's necessarily the case, in my opinion, simply because there's a number of different ways you can do a mobile check-in, and some customers may not be as fluid in doing it all on their phone, but have used an ATM before and would be easy enough to check in using the GoMoto, especially if you've got a small backup in the write-up area. And when we talked about that balancing act as states start to open up, I mentioned it before on previous webinars. Remember this, as business starts to increase, social distancing automatically is going to decrease. So we have to do use every means possible to keep that social distancing in play and keeping customers comfortable with respect to their safety. So while 6 months ago, you probably did 60 to 70% of your write-ups in the morning and all your weights and then staggered maybe the balance throughout the day, is take advantage of staggering your weights throughout the day, especially now with so many customers still working from home, that a 2:30 minor maintenance appointment is just as convenient as the old 7:30 appointment. So we want to make sure that we're keeping that social distancing incorporated. So any resource that you have available to improve that, I think would still be utilized in the near future. That's just my thoughts.
And Jared, that's awesome. And the other thing is, and I'm not saying that our DMS systems are behind the 8 ball, but if you have the ability to ask a customer about their check-in preference, you might be able to answer that question a lot sooner than we would, Tony, just because you'll find out how they want to be dealt with when they get to the store. Those are some of the big keys that we see a lot of the successful, not to say successful, but the more successful dealers doing is getting the information from the customer at the time of the appointment. And that's where that sales to service handoff, or the service to sales, where you have the salespeople doing the follow-up for the service department to come in for the appointment. How will you be dropping off the vehicle? Oh, you're going to use the faceless system. Okay, no problem. We have the GoMoto, where that could give you a chance to promote GoMoto. But ask the customer. They'll be the ones to tell you for sure which way to go. Let's see, I don't have any other questions.
Yep, no more chats, no more questions, Walter.
Jack, we okay?
Yep, nothing here.
All right, everybody. Thank you so much for participating. Please be safe out there and look forward to seeing you very, very soon.
Thanks for everything you do.
Take care, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Take care.